Ancient sacred fire, yielder of the flame of our Lord. Dark fire will not avail you, flame of Udun!
Someone has beaten a giant.
Excuse me. I beat this super strong player, 2554 rating. In real life, 2500 is Grandmaster strength. I don't think this person is a Grandmaster. Although, looking at their game collection, I do see that they have beaten Grandmasters as well as International Masters. So clearly, this person is a strong master, much stronger than I am. My rating is only 2216, so they're hundreds of points higher than me. And it's rare that I beat somebody of this level, let alone in just 12 moves. So I wanted to commemorate this special occasion with a little video analyzing the game. So let's see what happened. White opens with c4, the English opening. I respond with c5, the symmetrical defense to the English opening. We both develop our pieces. White clamps down on the d5 square. Fian shadows the bishop, which is typical in this variation. But then I lash out with d5. Now, this amounts to a pawn sacrifice because white actually has more control over the d5 square than I do. I only have 3 things guarding it, and they've got 4 things on it. So it's a pawn sacrifice. After c takes d, e takes d, e takes d, white is a pawn up, and my knight is under attack. So I hop into b4, and this is the whole point of the variation, is that the knight on b4 is a good piece because it's eyeing the d3 square, which would be a check on the king. And if I get that in, white loses their right to castle, and everything is all gummed up for a while, and they can't develop their game as rapidly. So I would consider that good compensation for the pawn minus. In addition to the knight d3 idea, black also has ideas of bishop to f5, influencing not only the d3 square, but also the c2 square, making it possible for the knight to hop into c2, checking the king and forking the rook, possibly capturing the rook or winning the exchange. You can see that black has some dynamic piece play possibilities in this position. White thought for 24 seconds here, which in a 5-minute game is a fair amount of time. White didn't want the knight to come into the d3 square, and the most common way of avoiding that is with the move d3. That's the most common move. And now, of course, knight d3 check is no longer possible because of queen takes d3. So this would have prevented the knight from coming in, and then if I try my bishop f5 idea, white can simply go like this, and white's fine. It's just equal, slightly better for white even. So white could have maintained equality with pawn to d3, but instead, after that 24 think, white overreached with a blunder d4, which has the same objective as d3, namely bringing the d3 square under the queen's control so that knight d3 is no longer possible. But the reason this move is actually worse than d3 is because of the simple tactical refutation, c takes d, and suddenly white realizes that the intended recapture, queen d4, is not possible due to the move knight c2 check, forking the king and queen, which would win the queen in the game. So white's in trouble here already. Black has a 1.6 advantage. So no matter what, white is at a disadvantage here because of this mistake that they made. So now it's just trying to find a way to minimize the damage. You know, the computer suggests something like this, but then d3 comes with tempo, and now knight c2 is going to win the exchange, at least, possibly the rook. So clearly this is better for black. Another possibility is a3, and then I take their knight, they take my knight. This doesn't look great for white. You know, black still has a significant advantage, but it's not as much of an advantage now. Maybe white can survive, but it's definitely better for black. So white's in trouble no matter what they play, but unfortunately they chose a move that made it even worse. After knight e4, black now has a 3.6 advantage, which is a winning advantage. So after this move, black's winning the game, but it took me a while to see why. Can you find the winning move? I looked at moves like knight takes d5, knight takes d5, I looked at d3, I looked at queen e7, and then eventually I looked at the simplest and most obvious move. Occam's razor, the simplest solution is often the correct one. Knight takes e4, when after bishop e4, queen e7 pins the bishop, threatening to win a piece right away. And if white protects the bishop from capture, f5 wins a piece. So at the very least, white loses a piece in that variation. So to avoid that, white unpins the bishop with queen e2, after which the f5 move no longer works because the bishop retreats to b1 and everything's fine for white. Fortunately for black though, the d4 pawn can be used as a weapon, hitting the queen. So it has to be responded to. Bishop d3 is not possible because knight d3 check, and the queen can't capture the knight because it's pinned. Nor can the queen maintain its position on the e-file, unpinning the bishop, because if queen e3, then knight c2 wins the queen. So this left only queen f3, but after queen f3, black can execute the previous plan of winning the bishop because now it's pinned again. And not only is black winning a bishop here, but there's still a threat of knight c2. So this is a huge advantage for black now. It's a -8. White could put up some resistance with something like this, but I was just planning to go like this in that case, and it's just a huge advantage. So white resigned after f5, and I defeated a 25-54 player in 12 moves, so that was pretty awesome. Thanks for watching.